budgeting means limiting, restriction, things I can't do. But we teach them to flip that and say, okay, this is how I'm going to allocate my money so that I can have enough joy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Class is in Session here on Black Enterprise. I'm your host, Ashley Stevens, and this show highlights the latest happenings inside HBCU classrooms, public policy issues facing these historic institutions. We highlight the business side of HBCU sports, and we also shine a light on HBCU leaders, students, and alum who are making major moves in business, finance, the arts, and education. I'm excited that our special guest today is ErikaBlair McGrew. Now, she is a two-time HBCU alumna, and she can help you grow your money. She's the founder and CEO of Young Wall Street Traders, and we're excited to have her here today to discuss how she equips individuals with the mindset, the skills, and the strategies required to build and grow wealth. Hello, ErikaBlair, and welcome to Classes in Session.
Hello, Ashley, and thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
We're excited to be here. And listen, I'm always intrigued by professionals who have a background in helping other people grow their wealth, because to me, it means that you are an expert in what you do, professionally and personally. You have a passion for this. So just tell us a little bit about you. Where did you grow up? And were money and finance discussed in your home at a young age?
Yeah, so Ashley, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and yes, money was talked about, but not in the way that you would normally expect it to be talked about in terms of wealth. So for me, growing up, it was talked about in terms of what we couldn't do or what we couldn't have. We go to the store, don't ask for anything when you go in this store. But the funny thing is, if I look back and reflect, I've been managing money as early as age 7. And so one of the things that I can remember is my family, being in the line at McDonald's, and, we were discussing, okay, well, what were we going to get? And in my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, what they're going to get is $2 and what I'm going to get is $4. And I was like calculating how much we were about to spend and wondering if my parents had enough to take care of the bill. So I've always kind of said that I've had a money mindset from an early age. And in fact, maybe last weekend when I was talking to my stepdad, he reminded me that he and my mom, they would get settlement checks from being in car accidents. And they would go out and buy furniture and new clothes and a new car. It was like a big payday for them. And he said that I would always tell them, hey, I think you're spending too much money. So like I said, I think I've been managing money since I was a young kid. But for us, it wasn't a strategy. It was more like survival.
Got it. It was survival. So there was a different mindset perhaps then than what you have now as a professional who helps other people to grow their money.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about when that mindset shift switched for you. You're a two-time HBCU graduate. Tell us where you went to school and what your degrees are in.
Yes, so my undergraduate degree is from Tennessee State University, and it's in electrical engineering. And I went on to Clark Atlanta University for my MBA in finance. And so I chose an HBCU because I always heard that it was a nurturing environment. And I went to undergrad back in the early 90s when STEM was the big thing. Everybody was interested in STEM. They were giving scholarships to be an engineer. And I knew that that was a male dominant and very non-diverse field. And so I wanted to go to a place that I know that was going to nurture me and help me develop those skills that I needed to compete in those types of environments. Now, little did I know that when I was in undergrad that it was going to do so much more than that for me. It also gave me leadership skills that gave me confidence to speak better, to, make myself known in a room. And I also learned more about Black history, things that I had not learned in high school, things that were left out of the textbook. So going to an HBCU gave me a really, really good foundation to make me the person who I am today.
Love to hear that the HBCU helped to shape you as an entire person and professional. That's a big deal.
Yes, definitely.
So tell me, You studied electrical engineering at Tennessee State, and then your MBA was in finance. How did you make the pivot from engineering into the finance space?
Yeah, so it's funny because back then, this was in the early days of cellular, right? And so one of the great names out of Tennessee State was Jesse Russell. He's known as the father of digital cell phones. And so one thing when you look at those type of individuals, they have a certain escalation that they do in their careers. And back then, we were taught that okay, well, if you want to be in leadership, then the next natural progression for you is to get your MBA. And so that's why I pursued my MBA. And I chose Clark Atlanta University because at the time they had one of the top three ranking MBA programs for HBCUs. And I knew that it was going to be a good place to get my start. But something fascinating happened. I took my first finance class and learned about the stock market. So keep in mind, I'm 32 years old when I'm getting my MBA. I had never heard about building wealth in the stock market. I had heard about stocks, but I didn't, really understand how they worked or what they were used for. And so because I had like an engineering mindset, with problem solving and pattern recognition, I could really grasp the financial concepts really, really fast. And then when I started learning how to build portfolios and started learning how if you take a little bit and build over time, that's the foundation of building wealth. So, in my MBA program, finance just lit me up. It was like real world, it was relevant, it was something that I hadn't been exposed to, and it became like a passion of mine. Now, at that time, I didn't know that this passion was going to turn into me helping other people with that, but it did serve as like the building block of what I do today.
Got it. And I think it's exciting that you shared that you were 32 when you first learned about the stock market. That means we're never too young, never too old, because I assure you there are folks who are 42, 52 and up who still don't have a keen understanding of it. So tell us then, how did you get the inspiration to begin your nonprofit, Young Wall Street Traders, and what do you do?
Yeah, so after I earned my MBA, the dean recommended me to work for what's called an institutional money management firm. And so, what it mean by institution is I handled large sums of money, sometimes in the realm of 200 million, 300 million for big firms like pension funds, fighter fire unions, teachers' retirement systems, like real money for real people. But as I moved about in that industry, I saw that it was very much like engineering, male dominated and non-diverse. And when I went to conferences and other things, I never saw anyone that looked like me. So that same dean asked me to come back and serve as an adjunct professor. And so as I started teaching the students in other classes, they would ask me, okay, well, tell me a little bit more about what you do. And so I would start telling them about how I develop portfolios, how I analyze stocks, how those stocks work together to grow money for people. And so they said, well, can you teach us or share us some strategies? So I'm just like, sure. So, after class, we'd sit down and talk about how to analyze a stock. And they started going out and making money in the stock market. Now, I don't know if I should share this or not, but I told them if they ever told anybody that I knew this, that I would deny it. But they start taking a little bit of their student loan money and using it to invest in the stock market. But guess what it did for them? They were able to quit their
Hmm.
jobs. As much you may know that when many African American students go off to college, they have to support themselves. So they have part-time jobs and
Hmm.
they're not able to focus on their studies. So they were able to quit their jobs, making money in the stock market. And I thought to myself, wow, if I can teach this to college students, what about if I could really start at a young age when people are more impressionable and teach them in high school? And that's how Young Wall Street was born.
Got it. So Young Wall Street helps to teach high school students about investing in the stock market. Tell us a little bit about Young Wall Street and particularly your summer investment boot camp. I'm really interested to hear more about that.
Yes, so our 2 week summer investment boot camp focuses on the mindset. And so I always say that it's not all about the money. It's about the mindset. And so during this 2 week time frame, we're looking to change the mindset of the kids that we encounter so that they can learn the strategies and the tools to build wealth. So the first mindset change that we do with them is what we call a wealth mindset. We want them to start thinking about things like wealthy people think about things in terms of how do you allocate your money to give you the greatest joy. A lot of times we think about budgeting, and I don't like to use the word budgeting because budgeting means limiting, it's restriction, things I can't do. But we teach them to flip that and say, okay, this is how I'm going to allocate my money so that I can have enough joy. And one of those pieces of that joy is setting aside some money to build wealth. Now, the second thing we teach them is we want them to have an ownership mindset and not just a consumer mindset. So, what do I mean by that? Wealthy people own things and they are able to use that ownership to build wealth. The quickest way for them to do that is by owning stocks. So if a student comes in and they are wearing Nikes, oh, you need to analyze Nike stock so you can be an owner of it. If they have Apple products, iPhones, iPads, okay, well, we need you to analyze those type of companies so that you can own those stocks and start to build your wealth.
This is really interesting, Erica Blair. I'm glad you shared this because it starts with a mindset, not only for young people, but for adults. I think that's helpful to hear. Like you said, oftentimes the word budgeting could have a negative connotation because it means you're restricting or limiting or allocating, but you have to be strategic about, what you spend and where you spend. But using the language and the mindset, where can I allocate my funds to allow joy, to promote joy? That's brilliant. That's really brilliant. I like that. I really like that. So, well, listen, tell us about the $1 million movement. What's that about?
Yes, so the $1 million movement is really, my pathway, my vision that I have. So the Road to a Million movement is our campaign to help 1 million people build $1 million in wealth. And this isn't hype, this isn't like hustle, it's not okay, you're going to be a millionaire overnight. No. It is using the strategies and skills that I learned when I switched over to the retail side of investing. So I talked to you a little bit earlier about being on the institutional side where I had pension fund money. So after I was on that side, I moved over to what's called the retail side. The retail side is individuals just like you and I. So I'm helping individuals who had at least 250,000 in investable money, cash, to grow their wealth and to leave a legacy to their family and to make sure their insurance is taken care of. And so now I'm getting exposed to all these different types of wealth strategies that I know that I had never heard of. I know that my family had never heard of and my friends had never heard of. And so I said that, I need to take these skills and strategies to help people build their wealth of at least $1 million. And guess what? That strategy is going to be different for everyone. Depending upon where you are in life, your strategy may be to build your wealth through insurance policies and leave a legacy to your children's children. Another person's strategy may be through estate planning, building a trust with different types of assets that they already have in that trust. And then we have some people, their $1 million strategy may be through investing. They may already have a 401k or something like that that they can start to build in wealth. So we're not looking at just one way to help people get to that $1 million in wealth. We're going to look at them holistically and say, hey, you already have the foundation to build $1 million in wealth, and we're going to help you see it through.
Awesome. We're here with Erica Blair McGrew. She's the founder and CEO of Young Wall Street Traders. She helps people to grow their wealth. Erica Blair, I'm curious, on the retail side, you said you work with individuals who have at least $250,000 in cash to help them grow their money. For some of our viewers here at Classes in Session who say, I don't have $2,500 to my name, let alone 25,000 or far beyond, 250,000. Can I still be on the road to a million with what I have?
Absolutely. Yes, 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 and yes. And I'm glad you asked me that question because guess what? I left my licenses behind because I knew I had a greater calling, right? So I left all of my financial advising licenses behind so that I could focus on educating so that I can speak to the person who doesn't have the $250,000. By giving up my licenses, it gives me the freedom to be able to teach and give the education to the person that would not hear it because they didn't have the 250,000 to get started with a financial advisor. So whether you just have $5, whether you have $100, whatever you have, we can help you get on your road to a million. Now, does that mean that everybody is going to see it in 5 years, 10 years? No, but if you stick with us, we're going to give you a plan to get on that journey. And what we hope more than anything else is that you're going to teach it to your family. So it's going to start to spread. Here's what I'm doing to build my $1 million in wealth. Here's what I'm doing for my kids to build their $1 million in wealth. When you have Thanksgiving dinners or Christmas dinners, instead of talking about who's bringing a new girlfriend over or what's going on with the latest family member, we're talking about how we're going to build wealth together. And I'll just add this one point. It's bigger than just the money. I'm sure you've heard about the wealth gap, right, Ashley?
Absolutely.
Yep. And so this is about the wealth gap. So the whole $1 million movement isn't just for money's sake, it's to close that wealth gap. And for people who don't know, the wealth gap is the gap in income or the gap in net worth for a white American family or a Black and Latino family. And on average, that gap is about 10 times. Now, the Federal Reserve Bank did a study, and there's two main reasons for that wealth gap: the amount of money that you have in your equity in your home, and then the amount of money that you have in an investment account. So, what Young Wall Street does is that we're helping people to open investment accounts. We're also helping adults to open investment accounts and to get more in those investment accounts. And you may say, well, how is the wealth gap affecting me? How many people use somebody else's address to send their kid to a better school? That's the wealth gap because they don't put the resources and skills and the good teachers in certain neighborhoods. And so, because of that, you want to send your child to another neighborhood. So, don't think that the wealth gap doesn't address you. It does, it affects us on everyday level. And so, this Road to a Million movement is going to help us close that wealth gap and get the right resources in the neighborhoods that need them.
Love to hear that. Closing the wealth gap, that's obviously very important to us here at Black Enterprise and our audience as well. And also creating generational wealth. And I want to go back to the summer investment boot camp and talk a little bit more about what do students do? How old are the students that are a part of the boot camp? Where is it held? And how can they find out more about it? I mean, I think this is really intriguing and that something parents should be fighting to send their children to.
Yes, so the summer boot camp, they leave the boot camp with two main things. They leave with a diversified portfolio that's ready to invest, and they leave with an opportunity to make income trading a conservative option strategy. So you might say, okay, you just used a lot of big words. What does that mean? So the first thing, like I said, they are going to develop a stock portfolio. And so the same strategies that I use to analyze stocks top to bottom, looking at the macro, looking at fundamentals, looking at all the things that people look at on Wall Street, the students learn how to do that. They learn the terminology, they learn the strategies of how to look at a stock, how to look at the company balance sheet and income statement to determine whether this stock is good or not. And then they develop their own 7 stock portfolio that's ready to invest. Now, some of the students are like, Miss McGrew, I hear what you're saying about long term wealth, but I need some money right now. Like, I have to, maybe go work at a fast food restaurant in order to help my family out. So, what we do is we teach them what we call a short term options trading strategy. And what that means is they learn how to make maybe 150, 250, 350 a week trading options, and that can serve as income for them to also aid in help building their wealth. So they leave with those two main things.
That's a good deal. I mean, a couple $100 a week for any person, especially young person, is a big deal. What age group do you work with for the boot camp, and where is it held?
Yes, so the age group is rising ninth through rising 12th graders. And so we deal with that high school space. And like you said, for them, $150, $250 a week is more than they could probably make working in a retail type of job on a weekly basis. And it gives them their time back. It gives them the freedom to do and enjoy the things that they love, the high school activities, whether that's sports, whether that's cheerleading, whether that's some type of extracurricular club that they want to be a part of. So what we're trying to do is like give them their time and give them their freedom back. Right now, the program is held locally in Memphis, Tennessee. That's due to a grant that we received from the Shelby County Board of Commissions. And so we got a grant to scale our program from a small program of 25 students to 100 students. So we were able to more than double, triple are the students that attended the program this summer. And I do have an exclusive for Black Enterprise if you allow me to give it to you guys.
We are ready. We are ready, Erica Blair.
All right, so this is an exclusive for Black Enterprise. I have not announced this anywhere else, but at the end of our 2 week summer boot camp, we do what's called a closing awards ceremony. And in that closing awards ceremony, the students get up and they talk about everything that they've learned. So they do a stock analyst report, they show how to trade, they use all the Wall Street language. We had an anonymous donor that was so impressed with our students that they said, I want to fund their first brokerage accounts. So we are excited that we have 100 students who are now investors. They have opened up brokerage accounts, and we have a donor that has given them $2,000 to start their road to a million in their investment journey. So we have had a donor who has
Wow.
invested $200,000 in the growth of these kids. And we are so, so, so excited about it.
That is, I'm going to give you a hand clap. My tambourine is put away right now, but I would get the tambourine out. I'm so excited for you. That is incredible news. And we are glad you shared that exclusive here at Black Enterprise. And shout out to the donor who thought it fitting to invest in young people who are investing in their futures. That's a really big deal. Congratulations, Erica Blair.
Thank you so much. We're so excited. And, we've had so many people who, when they see the students talk the talk and walk the walk of everything that they learn, they was like, we need to give them more exposure. So we are just so excited because we just came back off of our New York Wealth Tour. And that was really exciting for us because we were able to host 8 of the winners from our Young Wall Street summer boot camp in New York. And this was an exciting experience for them because they were able to tour the New York Stock Exchange. They were actually able to be on the floor of the exchange during the closing bell. They were also hosted by JP Morgan Chase Bank, where they learned about careers in financial services and just opened up their world to more than just the city limits that they're used to in Memphis, Tennessee. Being in Memphis, Tennessee is just the start. We are planning to move to other cities, expand to other cities. Nashville is on the map, Atlanta is on the map, DC is on the map. We are getting so much demand to bring this program to other urban cities in the United States, and we just can't wait to do it.
Wow, this is exciting. I'm glad to hear this, that your support is expanding. So, again, shout out to those donors. And also, you mentioned Shelby County. Was curious to know who are some of your other partners in making this work possible?
Oh my gosh. So we have so many partners that help to make this work. First of all, Junior Achievement, a national nonprofit. We partner with them to expose the kids to a different kind of financial literacy. I'm not sure if you've heard about their finance park, but we take the kids to the Junior Achievement Finance Park so that they can be immersed in that that environment of allocating. I don't like to use the word budgeting. So they are immersed in the environment of allocating their funds to receive the most joy with junior achievement. We are also, like I said, we're partnering with JP Morgan Chase when we go up to New York. We also partner with another organization called Blacks on Wall Street. They are there to help Blacks that are in Wall Street jobs that may still find that they can't, integrate into the environment. And so they are hosting us for an event as well. We are also partnered with the National Association of Securities Professionals. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, NASP, but they focus on, pension funds and investment banking and things like that. And then we also partner with MC Light and Dr. Lynn Richardson's New Wealth University. They teach people how to build wealth as well. And they'll be doing a special wealth talk for our students. So our partners are just really, really coming in. Everybody sees the vision of this and everybody wants to help these kids get to the next level. So we're really, really happy about that.
I love to hear it. You've got some exciting partners who are all aligned in the mission to help young people to grow their wealth and to invest. And part of the plan is also to expand in the cities that you offer the program. I think that's a really big deal. I wanted to go back just a moment and really share a testimonial that I saw on your website. Actress Lauren London, whose son excelled in one of your wealth management boot camps. She said, quote, that the course also brought a new depth to our financial conversations. So noting that, Erika Blair, and I know you touched on it a little earlier, how important is it for parents to engage in wealth building conversations with their children? And at what age should they begin?
Wow. So one of the things we do note is that wealth conversation doesn't happen at home. And like I said before, for me, the conversation about money is usually about lack and not about wealth building. So I will say that it is very, very important for parents to start talking and having those conversations at home. But some of the feedback that I get from parents is, well, if I don't know about it, how can I start talking to my kids about wealth? And I say, you brought up a good point. And so we want to encourage parents to say, expose them. If you hear about some type of financial workshop, send your kid to that. If you hear somebody else talking about finance or people who are in the finance industry, set up a lunch date, set up, something at your home or brunch at home and have them come over and spark the conversation that way. So we don't want parents to feel ashamed or fearful about talking about it just because they don't have the background to be able to talk about it. Someone in your circle, someone in the city, someone somewhere within your realm is going to be having that conversation. And so we just want you to help get your kids inputted into those types of conversations.
Got it. So no matter when the conversation happens, it should begin and begin at home.
Absolutely, yes.
Got it. Got it. So, Erika Blair, where can folks find out more about you and what you do with Young Wall Street and the Summer Investment Boot Camp for teens?
So, yes, you can go to our website. It's www.youngwallstreet.org. And on there, you can find more about the different programs that we have in Young Wall Street. You can also find out more about me and our board and also the expansion. You can join our mailing list to find out when we may be expanding in your city or doing some workshops in your city as well.
Love to hear it, Erika Blair. And any final financial or wealth building tip for our audience here at Classes in Session?
I would just like to leave with most of the people that I talk to, if I transition over to adults, their income is not the issue. The issue is knowing where to start. They always say, I have money, but I don't know where to start. Also, the second issue is trust. And I always tell my friends, my family, people that I come in contact with is knowledge is going to bring the trust. So the more you get educated about something, then the more you're going to be able to trust and take action. And so with Young Wall Street and also the assistance that I give to adults, that's what I'm establishing there. The education and the trust. I'll give one example. I have a very good friend, single female who makes a lot of money, and she had maybe 20,000 sitting in a bank account. And I said, "Hey, well, what are you doing for that with that money? Is that money working for you?" And she said, "No, I'm not really ready for investing yet." And I said, "Well, have you heard of a high yield savings account?" She said, "Well, I get an email about a high yield savings account all the time, but I didn't trust that email." I said, "Well, do you know that you can make $200, $300 a month by just putting your money in a safe high yield savings account that is FDIC insured, meaning it's protected by the bank, and it's not investing, but your money is still working for you?" And she said, "Well, I never thought about it like that. And I never took action on it because I didn't trust those emails." So we sat down, we got her synced up with a high yield savings account. And she called me 2 months later. "Oh my gosh, I actually see growth in my account because I did one simple thing of opening a high yield savings account." So I want to tell people, one, get the education so that you can start to make some decisions to make your money grow for you. And number two, that education is going to instill trust in you. And then, of course, if you need help, you can always reach out to me because I'm going to meet you where you are. Wherever you are, I'm going to meet you there and help you get on your road to $1 million.
Love to hear that. We definitely need more folks on a road to $1 million, and appreciate your help and your insights here today on Class is in Session. Thank you so much, ErikaBlair McGrew.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a great conversation.
It definitely has. And listen, I learned a lot. I'm sure our audience has too. So thank you again for being here. And thanks again to each of you for watching this interview with the founder and CEO of Young Wall Street Traders, ErikaBlair McGrew. She's a two-time HBCU alumna. You can learn more about what she's doing at youngwallstreet.org. That's youngwallstreet.org. This is Ashley Stevens, your host of Classes in Session. Stay posted for the latest and greatest on Black Enterprise's website and social media channels, also at blackenterprise.com. And stay tuned for the next episode of Classes in Session, where we're always highlighting positive education topics and news pertinent and relevant to HBCUs. Again, I'm Ashley Stevens, and for this episode, class is dismissed.
Doubly honored to receive the Earl Graves Senior Vanguard Award, named after BE's founder. Mr. Graves was always a guiding light for me and many others. He always had advice, a kind word, and even a playful jab for me.
Coming here lifts my spirits because I know that no matter what happens around us, I think we have a chance to do some great things.
Networking is extremely important.
This is a conference I definitely will look forward to coming to.
Excellence is the base. That's the base. The goal is exceptionalism.
Anybody that is a business person needs to be here.
For more than 5 decades, we've had your back. Class is in Session and Black Enterprise have everything you need to elevate your excellence.